Hey, Mommy Shannara here, February 5th of 2021, and it's kind of like learning to start a new video diary, and say a lot, don't I? Anyway, wanted to document so that I don't forget and that I can share with other people our COVID journey, and one of the greatest gifts that I've ever been given by my Samuel Enoc, or in English, Samuel Enoc. He's 16. I guess it's about the power of words, and there's, Bible talks about scriptures of greater love has nobody that they lay down their life for another. Kind of that sacrificial love, and scripture talks about what a blessing children are. And again, the power of words. And sometimes you don't realize that your children really are listening. Uh, you know, um, our COVID journey, illness began, I guess, in January 9th. Looking back, I was feeling off. I wasn't feeling very good. And that was on a Saturday. And a couple days later, by Monday, I was having incredible backaches and just a headache. I'd been in an accident in November 20, the end of November, and so I just thought, just wasn't feeling good. And a couple days after that, like about Wednesday, I really wasn't feeling good. I thought, oh my gosh, this feels like COVID. So on Friday, I believe it was the 15th, January 15th, I had a rapid test. And I knew I was sick before I got the test, because on the day before, on the 14th, I had a horrific fever through the night, 101, but I just hurt everywhere. I was so sick. And so I got the positive test, COVID positive, on January 15th. And it was one H of a journey. It is the sickest I have ever been in my life. It's like every flu you've ever had, but you have it at the same time. Respiratory issues, body aches. My family has a genetic abnormality. They tend to call that a genetic disorder, and it leaves us susceptible to all kinds of autoimmune problems. So this flu, COVID, for me, was the sickest I've ever been in my 55 years of life. Dizzy, nauseous, headachy, I don't know, tired, hurt to move. Everything hurt. And when I get sick, my skin hurts. It's a fibromyalgic kind of thing. Literally your skin hurts. Everything hurt. There was no relief, And that really began on January 14th, and it continued. And today is, January, yeah. From January 14th until February 1st, I was so miserable. There were hours, days where I would just spend just rocking, doing this and praying, because, I'm an oiler, a natural person, right? And I would take everything I knew how to do. They also call it COVID fog. Well, I had it, couldn't think. Um, my sister, my one daughter, and even the boys, I'd do anything they said to do to try to find relief. And a lot of trouble with that was I couldn't keep anything down either, anything I would eat or drink. And at one point, and I can't say this without crying, so this is why I look like this, because, the way I look reflects, I'm in healing now, but the miserableness, for many people, there's an old hymn that says, writhing in anguish and pain, I get that because I did that for days. Couldn't be comfortable. If it just felt like there were constant explosions going off inside of my body. It hurt to breathe, if you've ever seen a picture of the COVID virus, and it looks like burrs or, pricklies, and that's what it felt. I couldn't take a deep breath because it centered in my pharynx and my larynx, my nasopharynx, and it burned, it poked, and the compulsion to cough, probably like whooping cough, you just couldn't stop. And of course then throwing up on top of the pain, and there were days, hours that I couldn't even cry because it hurt too much. So you're moaning and you're rocking, and the boys would do, Samuel and Nehemiah, would do everything they could, anything I wanted. And Samuel, since he was born, I don't know, he's been my protector. He is autistic, so intelligent, but still. But anyway, he's my boy, and my firstborn son, natural born son. And I remember a couple of days into this, where nothing I did worked and wouldn't give me more than just a few minutes relief. And the boys were in the bed with me. They crawled up and they sandwiched me, squeezing me. And Sam was like, Mom, I just wish I could take this away from you. I wish I knew what you were feeling and take it away. And I wish I could take it. He would say things like that. And I was chastising him as a mother does, no, don't say that. The power of words, and I don't want you to be sick. Because what mother wants their child to be sick. And a few days after us having that conversation for the second day in a row, I don't know, I started to turn the corner somehow and started to feel better. And today is Friday the 5th, so Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So about the 31st, it was Monday, I think it was, January 31st or something. I was somehow starting to feel better. I can't describe how, just a little less miserable, and probably the 28th, 29th, a little less miserable. Still had the fever. My skin still hurt, so I still knew the virus was active. Still running a low-grade fever. And then on Monday, I think it was February 1st, I just woke up and I knew something was different. And oddly enough, Samuel started coughing. And I was like, oh my God, have mercy. It sounds like you're getting it worse. Because they had, DHEC had just said, assume they're positive. So we did, and, we're in quarantine. And so the 3rd of February, we went back into quarantine because Samuel started running a fever. Low grade, 99, 100. And he just felt miserable. His skin hurt. And by now I'm feeling better. At least I'm able to get up. I'm not, and my skin isn't hurting. So I knew that the virus was had left or was over it. That's just one of our body's ways of signals. And I started talking to him, and even though I still have lingering brain fog, it was like, wait a minute. Samuel said something, and it dawned on me. He had asked God, not only had he spoken it aloud, but he told me, he said, no, Mom, I asked God to give it to me. He said, because I couldn't take you hurting anymore. He said, I'm young, I'll be okay. He said, but, I don't want to lose you. And it hit me. God granted him that. And, so of course instantly I do what I do and lapse into preaching mode. Kids have always told me I can sermonize anything. And like, don't you know what you did? Why would you do that? And he just had this look on his face that I know so well. And, I just looked at him and I said, you knew what you were doing, didn't you? And he said, yeah, Mom, I did. He just nodded his head. I did. And I said, why would you do that? You hurt. He's nauseous, headache, body aches. He's 16, so his joints and his knees hurt. His skin was on fire. Not fire, but it hurt. And he said, because I'll only be sick for a few days. He said, but you couldn't take much more. Because I did feel like I was losing my mind. You were that sick. And so, here we are at February 5th on a Friday, and he is already feeling much better. His virus hasn't left him yet. And it dawned on me that, he's going to be through the virus and recovered before I'm even recovered, because I'm only at 50%. I can't normally talk very long without coughing. Just the lingering effects, 55 versus 16, right? And this is our 4th year going on being chemical free and naturally building up my kids' immune system so they don't have the illnesses that me and my sisters have had, and the boys' older sisters. Anyway, I just have to, I don't know, testify or tell. I don't know. You don't want to get all religious-y sounding, but spiritually, and the love of a child, where they take from you something, and it makes me emotional because I can't imagine being sicker. And there's another Bible story about Job, where he was so sick and sitting in a pile of ashes and scraping his skin with pottery. I would have done anything had it given me relief. I was doing everything I could think of. Sit, stand, anything. Oh my God, it will tell you it. I can't imagine being sicker. That's just a minute taste of, I think, what I consider hell, where there's no hope. It's all dark. There's never anything good. No relief at all. And no hope of relief. I just spent a few days similar to that, and I couldn't imagine. That's a whole nother sermon. But my Samuel, knowingly, seeing me, what I was going through, asked to have this virus, or just to take my illness away. Because it's like he's had a little taste of everything that I had. And handling it like a champ with grace and mercy. And yesterday, I said, baby, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do for you. I can't help. I don't know. I'm doing everything I can, I believe in combination medicine, so I'm doing natural and manufactured, things together. I mean, he's on antibiotic and all that, plus his oils, plus supplements, plus. But to have somebody do something like that, I mean, that's a living sacrifice. Easier than dying, sometimes I think, because, he's suffering. That isn't, it's just a beautiful, it's a beautiful demonstration of love. And it speaks volumes to me about my son's heart, and maybe just a little bit of a nod, He's my Samuel Enoc. Anyway, I don't ever want to forget his sacrifice. I don't ever want to forget that, and I just had to put it out there so there's a record of it. Somebody else can read about it or see it, or just give him the blessing of being acknowledged for doing such a loving, sweet, kind, giving thing. So anyway, there we go, Mommy Shannara signing off.